good, Josh Price, man? Today we're back at giving another video. This is going to be me giving my official predictions on WWE's Crown Jewel, Perth, Australia, babes. Hello, mate. Can we get some shrimp boomerangs and kangaroos, yeah? Anyway, it is going to be in, I think, Perth, right? It's going to be in Perth, Australia. It is going to be Crown Jewel. It's going to be this weekend. That will be the wedding weekend. I am actually attending my sister's wedding on Saturday. We got rehearsals tomorrow on Friday. I'm recording this on Thursday. So, got my hair cut, and I'm going to get my hair retwisted tomorrow. So, it's going to be a whole weekend, and I just thought about that. So, I got to probably actually film a couple of videos tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm going to have to film a couple of videos because, like I said, I'm going to be out for the wedding and shit. So, I ain't going to be here. So I gotta film some videos to drop and all that. Side note for the first minute of this video. Anyway, hit up all these socials down below. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let's get into the predictions, man. The first match we have on WWE's Crown Jewel. We're gonna give who we think is gonna win based off the booking, based off what makes sense. We're gonna give our thoughts and predictions on the booking based off the story to tell and all that. And we're going to say basically who we think is going to win and why. That's really the premises of this. And I guess you could say we can kind of commentate a little bit on maybe the build of the match and whatnot. No. Anyway, first match I'm going to discuss is the one that was pretty much first, other than the championship matches. We already knew those were happening. But other than like the champion versus champion matches, the first match that was announced, man, John Cena, you can't see me, versus AJ Styles. Phenomenal, man. Anyway, this should be a master class. This should be a master clinic. Maybe it's not going to be as much of a clinic as it was when back in the day when they was, like 10 years almost younger. When they were like almost 10 years younger. It's probably not going to be that level of classic, but I still think it is going to be a good match, Since we've seen John Cena turn babyface, aside from the Brock match, he's been having really good matches. The one with Logan was really good. It was fun. The one he had with Cody when he first turned babyface was really good. Championship match at SummerSlam. Like, it almost kind of feels like new life is in John Cena. Even the one he had on his last ever SmackDown with Sami Zayn, that was some really good stuff. So, not to say that the matches like with Punk weren't really good, and he had a fun match with Randy Orton at Backlash. So these were some good matches as a heel, but as a babyface, because he's just so naturally a good guy, it's had more life to his matches, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, let's do the damn thing. As I say, who do I think will win this match? There hasn't been a story yet leading up to it. The story literally was them talking about it on Twitter XX, which you follow Jesus Project on there. Twitter XX, Twitter. Where they basically said, hey, man, I'm trying to do this match. Like, basically, it's my retirement tour. I'll take control of this motherfucker. Cena's usually the guy that say, hey, I just do what they tell me to do. But I guess Cena said, you know what, for this one exception, I'm going to actually tell you exactly what I want to do. So they was on Twitter like, hey, I want this match. And AJ responded to John Cena's tweet saying, and it got like, tens of millions of views. And then Styles like, hey, yo, I want this match too. I'm ready for that motherfucker. And then Triple H goes, you want it? You got it. It's official. A long time or a infamous rivalry in Cena's career's rebirth when you see AJ Styles and John Cena at Crown Jewel, Perth, Australia. Anyway, so that's how we got this match. It hasn't been billed on the show. AJ said, hey, man, AJ said this past Monday, hey, the story writes itself again. But, yeah, we all know why there hasn't been any build. It's because Cena doesn't have any assigned dates in the lead up to Crown Jewel. He had no assigned dates, so that's why. Hadn't had to build. Now, I don't know if Cena legitimately demanded for this match online, or was that the plan because we know that Cena doesn't have any dates, was the plan to do the match like this? Like Cena, says he wants to do it on Twitter, and then Triple H says, all right, let's give it to him. Let's give the people what they want. Because that was one of the matches people were like, hey, why haven't we gotten this match? They thought it should be in Paris. Then they went with Logan Paul, and that was the whole thing. But anyway, I do not know if they planned all this out or if Cena legitimately was like, hey, I'm just gonna be John, I'm just gonna be the big superstar I am and ask for the match I want on Twitter and let the fans, run the numbers up and we get the match. Don't know, but either way, we getting the goddamn match, man. It's funny because there are other rivals that he had during that 2015-16 time, like Seth and Kevin Owens, that we haven't gotten those feuds revisited, funny enough. But well, Kevin's on the shelf, we know that, but it's just funny when you think about it. They ran back Sammy they're running back AJ Styles. We still haven't ran back, Seth and Kevin Owens, two guys he elevated at that time as well. But anyway, I do think it should be a good match. Like I said, maybe not as much of a classic match like the one where Cena won the 16-time World Championship, and the best match they had was, obviously at SummerSlam. One of the best SummerSlam matches, of all time, really. But anyway, John Cena, I do think will come out with the victory. I just don't think it makes sense for John Cena, even though AJ does need wins, like bigger wins, considering he's lost now twice even with cheating and all that. He's 0 for 2 going against Dominic for the Intercontinental Championship. So, even though I do think AJ needs some credible wins, I just feel like with the way Cena lost to Brock, I don't think this is one of those ones I think he can afford to lose to Styles. So, this will be a face versus face match. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully it's, like I said, really good. But I do think John Cena will come in with the victory. I can't even really determine it off the build because there hasn't been any other than them asking for it online, which, like I said, don't know if they planned it to be that way to make it seem like Cena just was fed up, or was Cena legitimately fed up and said, hey, motherfucker, give us the match, give the people what they want. They've been asking for this match, so I'm a guy done put it out there in the universe. Anyway, either way we get in the match, and it should be good. Moving on to the next match, man. The next match that I am going to discuss is one that just got announced, and that's Roman Reigns. I don't know if there'll be another match. There's 5 matches, I think, on this so far. I think it's 5. Yeah, there's 2 championship matches, 2 non-championship matches, and then you got a tag match. Yeah, I think it's 5 matches, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, Roman Reigns versus Bronson Reed in an Australian street fight. Now, I don't understand why they call this an Australian street fight other than the fact that it's in Australia, which they do this all the time. A Chicago street fight, a Philadelphia street fight, a Texas street fight, whatever. They just kind of name the city or state or whatever, and and just label street fight on it. Or it's usually the city. Yeah, they just name it a city or state or wherever they are. They just put that, insert that, wherever they're going to be at, and put street fight on the end of it. Now, it was highlighted by the fans that, a lot of the time you heard Paul Heyman in his promo say that, Bronson Reed is, no one's ever beaten Roman like this, and he stretched it out and all this other stuff. But then he said, and you're thinking, you would think with that type of build up and hype, you would think they would, say, an ambulance match or something. It would make sense for that to be the match, since the whole thing is that he stretched them out. But they said a street fight, and it was okay, well. Now, I'm not that excited for this match. I know the build hasn't really been much other than Roman saying, hey, I'm going to get my revenge on you guys for putting me out on the shelf at Clash in Paris. But for me personally, I'm not that excited for this match. I was one of those people that thought we were going to get Braun Breaker, but then I realized, oh, wait, it's in Australia. Bronson Reed is from Australia. So they're going to run that match back rather than give us the match that we know we're looking forward to. Because, he's going to do the thing, funny enough, a full circle moment, right? You used to have to face the Usos to get to Roman, but now Roman has to face, the members of the Vision to get to Seth. So now Roman knows how it feels now to have to fight the henchmen to get to the main guy. But anyway, yeah, so I do think that at first I was thinking Roman was going to win, but then I'm like, well, the problem with that is if Roman wins, then you kind of destroy Bronson Reed's credibility as the whole, tribal thief and the Shula Fala. And even though that's not really a thing because he got his shoes back. But it's kind of hard to make Bronson legitimate if he loses back-to-back to him. So that's what I'm thinking on it. I'm not completely sure if... what am I trying to say? I'm not completely sure how they going to do this because part of me is I don't know if you give the win. How do I say this? I don't know if you give the win to Bronson or if you give the win to Roman. Part of me is this is what I was thinking. Part of me was I get it, putting over the, the younger talent and superstars and stuff like that. Part of me is I get it. But at the same time, it's I feel like if you were to put a younger talent over from a Roman Reigns loss, it would make more sense to do that with a Bronson Reed. I'm sorry, a Bron Breakker, considering he's way more billed as like the future of the company, main eventer of WrestleMania than Bronson Reed is. He's more hyped as the future. So I just feel like it don't make sense to have him face Bronson, lose to him, and then, face Bron Breakker and then lose to him. Like, it's like, how, yeah, it kind of come off like a, dang, bro, you losing to the henchman trying to gear up for Seth Rollins. I don't know. Part of me is like, it's in Australia, it's a street fight, which is great for Bronson. I mean, big name you facing in your hometown, like you facing the face of the industry pretty much in your hometown and all that. So I don't know. This is one that's hard to predict. I might make a bold prediction and say Bronson Reed, only because I feel it's gonna have a lot of different type of shenanigans playing out, like a Bron Breakker, getting into the fray. And I could see that costing them. And then Roman was over there telling the Usos, hey, I don't really want your help. And they've been having issues. So I think we could see Bronson end up getting the win over Roman, considering Roman's already got his win over him. And even though one could also say, Roman getting, stretchered out, I thought that was their way of making Bronson Reed look strong, right? Because he lost to Roman, but he stretchered him out. I thought that was the way they were kind of making him look strong, but no, they said, we're going to make this another match. So one says, okay, well, Roman got stretchered out, so do you even out the feud by having Roman win again? Because he already gotten, but I don't know. It's too much. But anyway, I'm going to make a bold prediction and say Bronson Reed. I'll go all day if I keep, arguing myself on this. Anyway, next match. What am I going to go with here? Oh, the tag match. Rhea Ripley and Asuka versus Kairi Sane Rhea Ripley and Io versus Kairi Sane and Asuka of the Kabuki Warriors. I ain't gonna lie. I do see like Kairi taking the pin. I do think Rhea's gonna win in her hometown. Just because it's Rhea, and also I just feel like I don't see Io taking a pin. And Asuka's not going to take a pin because they're building her up as more diabolical. Now, this story has been fun in certain parts, like Asuka doing the Kairi when she wants Kairi to come over there, you know what I'm saying? So there's been a little bit of fun in the story, but there's also been some not fun in the story, like with that, overly dramatic, attempted to be emotional Io that she had last Monday, and that I did not feel was good. It just did not come off realistic at all, and it just didn't really, But they got Rhea on the show because it's Rhea. She's their biggest star, Australia, their biggest star, blah, blah, blah. One of their big stars in the Cole Company. So I do think Rhea's going to get the win here because they already did the turn and the beating down of Io and stuff, and I don't think you do all that to have her lose at the PLE. So I do think Rhea is going to get the win here alongside Io, and I just feel like Kairi, being the least strong out of them as far as booking is concerned, is probably going to take the pin. But that is just me, you know what I'm saying? Y'all let me know if who y'all going to think going to win that. But I think off the little story they've been telling of, Asuka, basically mad at Io because, she treats, Rhea more like a friend than her real friends, and now she always says, oh, I don't want you out there, and all this, trying to basically phase them out the picture and all that stuff. So they said, fuck yeah. But anyway, I do think Rhea's going to get the win in her hometown, and I think poor Kairi is probably going to end up eating the pin, if you ask me. You know what I'm saying? I could be wrong on these, but you never know. So co-main event, I don't know if it's going to be the co-main event, but we're going to go Stephanie McCarter versus Tiffany Stratton for the Crown Jewel Championship, right? The Women's World Champion versus the WWE Women's Champion. I don't know, because I would think Stephanie would get the win because, like, she's a fresh champion. So with the fact that Tiffany's been champ for I don't know. It's like Tiffany's been champ for so long now. I think she's like the longest reigning current champion. Like, as in, out of all the current champions, I think she's had her title the longest. So I think she can afford the loss there. So if I'm going there, if I'm going with my president, I'm going back at her, who's become one of my favorites. You know what I'm saying? She's definitely won me over with the wrestling and the looks, to say the least. We'll just stop it there. But the fact that she's a newly crowned Women's World Champion, I don't think that's a great way to start off by already losing. So I do think Vaquero could use the win here. And to become the crown jewel champion for the females, man. And they haven't done any story at all. I know Stephanie, she's obviously, progressing and learning, the English. That's right. That's how you say it. Why did I think I was wrong? English. I think it's the way I said it. English language. Every week she's progressing with that. But even with that, they still haven't given this no build at all, man. They had like a contract signing last week, and it was the most peaceful and respectful contract signing ever until, like, I think Julia or whoever got involved at the end. But, like, between them specifically, no heat, bro. There was, like, no heat, no argument, no nothing. They just, hey, let the best woman win, And I just, I'd have put more, I know they don't have any history, but I would have put a lot more effort, you know what I'm saying? Because the whole point of these matches in general is you're supposed to make them exciting, So from a stylistic standpoint, this will be a good match, or should be a good match, but they have not put in a lick of effort to really actually get you, like, hyped for this match. So I have to flag them in that department for not really trying to make this exciting. You can't say that because one of the reports is why Stephanie and EO had no builds because Stephanie was sick, but she ain't sick now. So you little goddamn motherfuckers. Y'all got no excuse this time to why y'all didn't really get this match. No type of build. And it's just literally just on some let the best woman win type of timing. But anyway, I do think Stephanie's gonna get the win there. She is somebody who needs it because I feel like she's a newly crowned champion. So I just feel like that doesn't make any sense to have her not win when she just won the championship, at WrestlePalooza. So I don't think that makes her look good as her first match as champion, like, one-on-one type shit. And she don't win. I don't think that's a good way to make a champ look. So I'm going to go Stephanie to win this match. But last match we getting into, which I'm presumably is the main event, and that is going to be what should be a banger, man. All the matches they've had have been bangers, and hopefully it's the same here. And that will be the WWE Champion Cody Rhodes versus the World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins, man. Seth freaking Franklin, Rollins. I'd have Seth winning this. I just think he needs it a lot more. Cody is 3-0 against Seth. He beat him and this was in 2022. He beat him when he came back at WrestleMania 38. He beat him in the rematch they had at Backlash, and then he beat him in the third match they had at Hell in a Cell with the torn pec and all that. So I just feel like with all those factors being known and considered, and also the fact that with the way they built this matchup, which I like how they did on this past Monday, really trying to tell you not only the story of how Seth, helped out Cody Rhodes win the title at WrestleMania 40, but then Cody, like just a few months after, teams up with Roman, the guy they took forever to, take down, and he teams up with him, and how shady that was, and how the fact that, telling that story of also how Seth is getting, upset at the fact and obsessed with the fact that he has not beaten Cody Rhodes, you know what I'm saying? So they telling that story, how obsessed he is with that and how mad he is with him, with teaming with Roman and all that type of stuff. And he really had a backstage segment with Paul Heyman talking about how, like, hey, man, or Heyman's basically telling him, like, as Seth asked him, like, hey, what if I lose? And, Heyman eventually tells him, like, hey, bro, like, I would have to question why I chose Roman over you. Like, you know what I'm saying? And also you lose the respect of the locker room. You lose the respect of the boys in the back. You know what I'm saying? You lose that leadership role and you end up becoming basically a second-rate champion. You know what I'm saying? That's how it's going to be if you lose to Seth for a fourth time, man. You know what I'm saying? So I like how they really built the story and importance of this match. You know what I'm saying? So I love and appreciate them putting in the effort there. You know what I'm saying? So that being said, with all the, whether they're shenanigans or not, like, Bronson Reed or whoever, or Braun Breaker gets involved or not, Seth needs the win here, man. He does need to beat Cody. So it's funny, I got both world champions winning. So Cody and Tiffany, they're the WWE champs, and then the world heavyweight or world champs are Stephanie and Seth. So I got both of the world heavyweight champs winning. Stephanie because she's the newly crowned champion, so I think it doesn't make sense for her to lose this early in, like, her trying to build a name for herself and stuff like that. And then Seth because he needs this win. Like, he's already lost to Cody 3 times, and that's just going to make him look worse as somebody that's supposed to be presumably your world champion, and he loses to the guy he lost to 3 times already. It just makes him look like way less of a world champion. Like, he technically is by way of, like, prestige for the championships, but you really, like, peg him down the goddamn what do I say? You really put him down on the pecking order or whatever way that goes. You really lower him down the ranks with a loss like that, a fourth time against the WWE champion. So yeah, Seth is gonna need this win, whether cheating is involved or not. He needs to do it by any means necessary. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, Seth, I got getting the win here to become the Crown Jewel champion for the men. So y'all let me know who y'all think is gonna win. I said John Cena, Bronson Reed, bold prediction on that one. Rhea and Io, Stephanie Baker, and Seth Rollins to get the win, man. Y'all let me know your predictions down below and why. And we gonna get ready to watch this thing. Like I said, I gotta post some video. I gotta record some other videos later on today. I got work, so later on today, gotta record some videos for y'all. And I'm gonna get this video out. I don't even think I got time to edit it. So if y'all saw my mom and come in the back from the door and stuff like that. If that's still in there, then that means I ain't got time to edit it. Anyway, love appreciate you guys, man. And at the end of the day, we're gonna say this so what's gonna be his project. You can see come out with content videos bangs over and over again for you guys. Doing my thing and doing it well. Like, comment, subscribe before you go, notification bell so you don't miss a single video, man. But I'll see you guys in the next video, man. That is the vibe that DJ's on. Let me know your prediction down below, and I shall see you in the next video, man.